Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new NVIDIA daily update video. So today, as per usual, let's talk about NVIDIA stock. Let's talk about what it did today on a pretty brutal day in the market and for NVIDIA as well, down about 3.3%, closing in just shy of $142 per share. Excuse me. Pardon me. Compared to the market, we'll say maybe a slight outperformance, but we'll just say roughly in line with the market. So what does this mean moving forward for NVIDIA? Let's talk about it. If you enjoy my videos, by the way, please don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. And of course, if you enjoy my analysis, I do have a membership section on YouTube. That link is down below in the description of the video, where you get access to all my intraday thoughts, posts, updates, technical analysis, etc. on Tesla. Or for $5 a month, you get access to all those things in the first tier, so Tesla and other stocks as well, plus NVIDIA daily updates. But jumping into it, NVIDIA closing the day, like I said, down about 3.3%, closing at just shy of 142. Now, what does this mean for NVIDIA? Well, NVIDIA, honestly, despite how certain things in the market look like, despite QQQ looking, definitely eyebrow raising, absolutely, definitely eyebrow raising, not ideal. NVIDIA's still actually hanging on, not that badly, right? Not that badly. Like, it looks pretty okay still. Like, it looks like it's still hanging in there, It's not taking as much of a beating. At least it doesn't seem like it. Now, obviously, there's still good news and bad news. So let's go over the good news first. What's the bullish news? Well, obviously, we have earnings coming up next week on, what is this, Wednesday, I believe, right? Wednesday earnings. So, obviously, massive question mark there. But strictly off of the way it closed today, above the 21 EMO, which is good. Above the market bias, which is good. And it held the 140 support. So, there are good signs. Now, I personally still want to see it lower. I still want to see about 138 to maybe, like, worst case, I think 135. But I want to see like 137, 138, 136. I still want to see a little bit lower personally. And I wanted to essentially tap my market bias. That's where I start getting interested, right? Because, the BX trender is still red. It's not showing that a confirmed influx of buyers coming in. MACD is, of course, flipping bearish once again. So there are some signs of concern. It's not perfect, right? But relative to the market, I actually do think NVIDIA actually held up fairly well, all things considered. Again, mainly because of the two things I just mentioned. It's above my two main trend indicators, 21 EMA and, of course, market bias, and even super trend, which is this little green line following the market bias, above all three of them. So again, it's looking not bad. Not amazing, but not bad. Not bad either. Now, the things that are making it look potentially concerning, right? As opposed to me just being like, it looks phenomenal, perfect. Not really, right? Why? Because, well, like I just mentioned, for instance, BX trend is still red. MACD flip bearish. Stochastic is bearish, right? And probably the main thing is the fact that we closed below 144 to 145, right? We were consolidating here for like just about a week or so, right? This very crucial level. And the ideal scenario is we break above, retest, and go higher. That's like the ideal scenario. Now what we can potentially do, honestly, we could be the exact opposite. We could have a breakdown, which we just did, break below 144 to 145. So now that officially becomes resistance. So watch for 144 to 145 becoming resistance, kind of like what it did back here, you can see, right? So watch for that. That's going to be important. NVIDIA needs to reclaim that 145 range. Like, it really needs to reclaim that sooner than later to, give some more confidence back into the stock, right? That's the way at least I'm eyeballing it right now. It needs to see that kind of confidence reclaimed, essentially, right? And the reason is also because, we could be potentially setting up this head and shoulders bearish pattern, right? As long as NVIDIA pretty much maintains below 145, this head and shoulders pattern becomes valid. We could be starting to set up that the right shoulder for the overall head and shoulders pattern. And again, that could mean really bad news for NVIDIA, and it can definitely go much lower. Like, it can go even well below my market bias if this head and shoulders pattern actually plays out. So that's something you want to watch out for. Now, I think, unfortunately, we'll probably have to wait until earnings. Like, I'd be surprised if we go above 145 into earnings, but I'd be also surprised if we go much lower than like 137 to 140 before earnings. As of right now, for the next 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I expect us to pretty much go sideways in this area. I expect us to pretty much do a whole lot of nothing right around this area, pretty much go sideways. And ultimately, and I hate to say this, but it really feels like it'll come down to earnings to dictate if NVIDIA continues this bullish trend, continues these beautiful looking higher highs, which it still absolutely has on the chart. Because again, I want to make it clear, despite this and despite it showing some short-term weakness, it's still ultimately making higher highs, higher lows. And as long as that remains, I see no reason to be bearish, right? The only way that does not become a reality anymore, the only way that NVIDIA's chart overall, like the overall picture really starts to get tainted by bearishness is losing 130, because then we officially set what is going to be now a fresh lower low, and then we'll look most likely to set a fresh lower high and then make our way even lower. And that's what you don't want to see if you're a bull. That's like the bearish case, if you will. So watch for these kind of situations to unfold. But as it remains and as it looks literally right now, right this very moment, I think it actually looks still pretty solid, pretty damn looking good looking chart still. I see no reason to be ultimately overall super duper bearish on NVIDIA. But again, short term, there are those weaknesses such as losing this consolidation zone, right? That does show weakness to me. That does show some, I don't know, I guess the best, analogy, metaphor, whatever, the best way to kind of, do an example is like, we had a nice sturdy bridge, right? This was a nice sturdy bridge. You can cross across this bridge, across the river, no problems. But now, a couple of those, wooden logs on the bridge that, were obviously, lining up to make the bridge very crossable without any concerns. A couple of them fell off, a couple of those logs fell off. And now you're kind of starting to wonder, hold on a second, is this bridge even still sturdy? I mean, it looks still sturdy, but if those two logs fell off, then hey, how many more logs can potentially fall off? That's kind of the example I can kind of give you with this, breakdown below that consolidation zone below 144 to 145, where it's like, okay, we're still good. But hey, why are we losing these logs? Why is this falling apart a little bit here? That's kind of the way to look at it. So let's see how it plays out, right? We'll see how it plays out. But I do think it comes down to earnings, unfortunately, which unfortunately is also a massive question mark. So let's see how it performs into earnings. I personally expect NVIDIA. I wouldn't be surprised if we do make our way back up to about 144 to 145. I think that's more likely than not. Into earnings, retest that as a resistance. But if we make our way lower instead, watch for about 140 to as low as about 137 roughly to act as a support. I don't think we'll go much lower than that. And those are the main two levels, 137 to 140 and about 144 to 145. But yeah, I don't know if there's much more to add. I think that's the majority of it. Let's take a quick look actually at the weekly candle chart. We haven't taken a look at the weekly for quite some time. I think we're printing, if I'm not mistaken, this looks like, we're actually printing an inside week candle, which is very interesting. So we are printing an inside week candle, which is good news. For traders. Well, it doesn't, if maybe not a good news for bears or maybe not a good news for bulls. We'll see which one happens. But we did actually print an inside week candle. Very, very powerful stuff. This is going to be very interesting now. And I think earnings will really determine what happens next for NVIDIA moving forward. Why is that? Pretty simply put, because we traded this whole week within the last week's candle, the high of this week, which is sitting at pretty much $150 versus the low of this week, which we just put in today, pretty much $140, that $10 range now becomes critical. And the way I look at it is even at any point in the week going above or below 150 or 140, respectively, but especially closing a weekly candle above or below one of those levels dictates to me the next direction. If we move above 150 at any point and especially close the weekly candle above 150, NVIDIA is still very bullish. I think NVIDIA will be very, very bullish. I see no reason to be bearish. However, if NVIDIA even goes below 140, honestly, now that I look at this inside week candle, even goes below 140, but especially if we close the week below 140, I think the bullish momentum and the bullish thesis is really going to die off really fast, and NVIDIA is going to make its way lower. And that's not what I like to see. So again, it's a massive question mark. Watch for those levels. Let this inside week candle, again, it's a weekly candle. It's an inside weekly candle. Very, very, very powerful. So once this direction is picked, I actually expect NVIDIA to move up substantially or down substantially, because it's a weekly inside candle. This should be pretty impactful. So let's see. I think patience is required here. I'm not going to be too crazy about it because, this is going to be a massive question mark here. Just watch for that to break, watch for those levels. And I think from there, the trend will be very clear in the direction we are going next. But yeah, all that being said and done, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think down below. And as usual, I'll see you on Monday. Peace.